AVC, Dale back to do a recent spins video. So I've just done recent finds. So these are records that I have played during September. Again, this change of angle. Apologies for the glare on the glasses, but you can't see my bloodshot eyes probably. So yeah, sort of 10 or so maybe records played in September and what I thought of them. So let's get on with it. So this used to be a VC fave over the years. I haven't seen it for a while. Terry Reid River. So Terry Reid, guitarist, singer-songwriter, I think guitarist for hire and singer-songwriter. I think he nearly became the lead singer of Led Zeppelin, but didn't. Or did he nearly join the Rolling Stones? One of the two. Anyway, this is, I remember this as being fantastic, and then I played it and I was like, actually, I didn't know where it was going. So I found the first side, a little bit of a struggle. But the second side was sublime, absolutely sublime. So yeah, highly recommend side 2 and highly recommend the album overall. Sort of great singer-songwriter rock, Terry Reid and River. Rob Ison had been showing in a number of John Martin albums he's picked up, which caused me to think, I'll revisit some John Martin, and I picked One World, which is I guess a jazzy folky album, very lush, very almost ambient folk. I don't know if that's the right term, but yeah, beautiful feel to this album. As we head into autumn, it's horrible outside, raining heavily. Yeah, John Martin and One World was a great revisit, so thanks for the inspiration. Talking of inspiration, so Shannon D has been doing a series of reviews, in-depth reviews of Joni Mitchell's catalogue, and sort of towards the end of summer where we had quite a bit of a hot spell, and then it was about to end, and it has ended with a bang here. So I thought I'd better revisit. So I've got Shannon's videos kind of stacked up, ready to watch, and then ready to try and listen along or listen ahead of. But I thought I would give this one a spin before we move too far into autumn. And I think, yeah, this is a great album. This was one of the first Joni Mitchell albums, if not the first Joni Mitchell albums I picked up on CD about 20-30 years ago. And at the time, I guess my musical palette was quite narrow, and the jazzy aspect of this didn't quite chime with me, so I kind of left it. But revisiting this with perhaps a broader taste in music, yeah, really enjoyed this. I have commented back to Shannon about it, but yeah, I found the kind of middle bit particularly strong. So from sort of towards the end of side 1 through to the middle to end of side 2, really strong set of songs, and there's a really good feel to it, and definitely a summer album. Okay, this is an album I'm ashamed to say I revisited probably for the first time since I bought it when it was released. So this is Laura Marling, who is an English folk singer-songwriter singer, and Once I Was an Eagle, which came out in 2013. So I first became aware of Laura Marling when she appeared on the Jules Holland TV show and did her first televised appearance. So I happened to watch it and bought her debut album on CD, and kind of followed her career. Got to hear, and I remember being slightly underwhelmed with this album at the time, and I've kind of then sort of stopped avidly collecting or following Laura Marling. But when I revisited this was beautiful. It was folk, singer-songwriter. I think I thought by this time that she'd kind of was a bit one-dimensional. It was the same over and over again. But revisiting this, there's a lot going on in here. There's Hammond organ and all sorts of instrumentation, quite subtle, and a really lovely listen. So maybe because it's folk and it's autumn, I picked the right time to revisit it. But yeah, highly enjoyed, or thoroughly enjoyed this. An album that I knew I would enjoy because it's one of my favourites, but I thought I'd just go back to it, is this album. I've shown it before, I think, on different. Is so Rome by Daniele Lupo, who's an Italian arranger, composer, and Danger Mouse, who's a famous producer, got together, went to Italy, recorded in. So it wasn't. I'm trying to get the story right. It wasn't with the original artists who had worked for Ennio Morricone, but it might have been using their instruments or their studios, working with a modern orchestra that performs in the style of that kind of Morricone orchestration. But it does feature Edda Del Orso. No, that's not the right way of saying it, is it? Maybe it is. Yeah, I think it's Edda Del Orso. Features on here, who was Ennio Morricone's go-to singer for that eerie, wordless vocals. So it is a very cinematic album in its style, and then it has the vocals. So some tracks are instrumental. The vocal tracks, the vocals are provided by Jack White from the White Stripes and Norah Jones. They kind of have 2 or 3 songs each, and they may have written the songs for this album. So it is a good collaboration and a fantastic, highly recommended feel to that album too. Okay, this probably could have been on my recent finds. It's in my recent spins. So this was the one very good album that I found in that 200 record collection that I was given, and so this is a folk rock album. It does have members and of Strawbs in it, but the 2 main characters are not from the Strawbs, but the other people are, is I think what I've established, or certainly evolved with the Strawbs. It is folk rock, and it's got a lot going on. It's got sitar and all sorts going on. It's really good listen and really strong, and actually, you know, I enjoyed this as much as any Strawbs albums, I would say, although I need to revisit those to prove that. But yeah, so it's in the collection. Foggy. It's quite rare, hard to get hold of. Okay, so sticking kind of with the folky theme, Case Lang Theirs, so their collaboration on this album of the same name. So Nico Case, Katie Lang and Laura Vairs, 3 individual artists in their own right, who are, I guess, singer-songwriters, Americana, folk artists, and call them what you like. And I think I chose this because it was Nico Case's 50th birthday during September, so in celebration I played this album. I'm sure she'll be relieved to hear. Yeah, great album. So it's, you know, I think they've each written some of the songs. They each take turns on lead vocals, and then there's a lot of harmony vocals going on. It's really beautiful, really beautiful album. Highly recommended. So I'm going to try and manage the glare. Okay, there's got to be some disappointments in this spin. Not everything is perfect, Dale. So yeah, yes, or no, yes. Yeah, it's a no. So I struggle with yes, and I've purged a lot of the yes from my catalogue that I've picked up at Car Boot Sales. It's gone. I've got 4 or 5 albums left. I like Close to the Edge, but I need to be in the mood. And I thought this, because it's like the pre-proggy yes, would be different. But I think essentially what it is, it's a fairly okay classic rock album. So yeah, so it was enjoyable, but didn't blow my socks off. So that's the kind of, I think it's the Yes debut album before they went all prog. And then to finish on a low, again, I pulled this out of that collection of 200 records. Yeah, so completely zero credibility, but I remember this from, as I say, from my childhood. So this came out in '73. So I would have been 7. I do remember this. The title track "Forever and Ever" is very famous. Demis Roussos had massive success at that period, as I guess the housewife's choice, and I really love his voice. I didn't even know anything about Aphrodite's Child, where he has got credibility. So Aphrodite's Child, hopefully people know, is a sort of Greek psychedelic prog rock band that predates this, where Demis Roussos was the vocalist, and Vangelis was one of the members of the band, and they put out 3 albums, which I do have, 666 being the kind of most famous, and that was on the Vertigo Swell label, so that has got credibility. And then only 2 or 3 years later, he was doing this, but I have to say I thoroughly enjoyed this from start to finish. Brought back memories of being 7 again. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. So you don't have to shell out for the latest cutting edge stuff to enjoy a record. So guilty pleasure, shall we say, although there are no guilty pleasures. Okay, I'll stop there, I'm rambling now. So that's just a few things I've spun in September. Cheers VC.